Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hi, friends. Hello, hello. A hearty hello and a hi ho, Silver. If you're what do you need me to move? Your hand is moving me along in the screen here. Okay. I'm so happy to see you all, friends. It's great to see you every Monday night because that's what we do. Every Monday night, we do the same thing, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Mondays, for many years now. And we do one thing and one thing only, and that is we learn homeopathy. I teach you what I know. I share with you my experiences with my clients, my students, even myself and my own family. And I can't concentrate when you do that. My husband comes around and moves the camera a little bit and then the screen. So my friends, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and that's what we do on Monday nights. And for those of you that I do know, welcome, my dear friends. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you are always with me on Monday nights. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's talk tonight, shall we? Let's talk. Let's see who's here tonight a little bit. I like to be able to see who I'm speaking to a certain degree. Mags is from Perth, Western Australia. Tell me where you're from. And Barb is from Grafton, Ontario. Tell me where you're from, friends. And Rona's here from Ajax, Ontario. Debbie from Pennsylvania. April from Texas. Hello from Naples, says Lori. And hi, everyone from Quebec, says Louise. Hi. So great to see you all. Love it. So, and I'd also tell me also, my friends, more from Cleveland, Ohio. That's Nadine. And Tennessee is Patricia. And Jean is from California. Tell me if you're new, if this is your first time or maybe only your second time that you've joined in with our little band. It's kind of fun to see who's coming in this. Oh, here's Smiling Tree Branches in Mexico. Wonderful. I love it. We're seeing a lot more folks from South America and Mexico. And Chuck's Girl from Georgia. Chapel Hill, North Carolina is where Carolyn lives. That's really great. Neva from, I think it's Neva from Pennsylvania. Thank you. You like my pink sweater? When I'm in Florida, I wear pink. It's just such a happy color here. This is my first time joining, says Chuck's Girl. Well, welcome, Chuck's Girl. Campton Hills, Illinois. First live, also says Jeanette. Hello from Wickenburg, Arizona. Second time here. Hi. Third time, says Louise. I love it. It's wonderful to see you all. Thank you for joining me. I'm new, says Jean. Beautiful. Love to hear it. So I'm here to share with you my experience in having a tooth extracted. It was something I expected. My first time also is Nereda Vasquez. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Nereda Vasquez, very pretty name. Third time, Louise says. So I was number 19, which is not a small tooth. Yeah, it's a what shall I say, robust tooth. And this is not the first time I've had a problem with my teeth. Years ago, I talked about this before, I had wisdom teeth extracted. There was nothing wrong with them. I was foolishly being, shall we say, proactive. One of the rather silly terms when people are, when it's referring to getting ahead of the curve by getting just in case, or having teeth extracted just in case, or we could keep going with all the just in cases. Tonsils extracted, we can keep going. But at any rate, that was superfluous. That was back in 1979. And so I had problems with two of those teeth, those two dry sockets is what they turned into, two of those sites. And I've talked about those in my antibiotic course. Should you be interested, you can certainly look that up. And I'll, for those of you who are with me tonight, so Natalie, hi Natalie, maybe you could just direct them to how to find the antibiotic course. That's something that you might want to look into. But I'm going to give you so much information tonight that I think that when it comes to dental extractions, you're going to find that if you jot these things down, and if you don't catch it all now, you can watch it again in about an hour or so after we're finished. And these are going to be a lot of writer-downers, because this is not specific just to me. Although some of them are a little bit, but I'm going to give you the kind of information that I wish I had many, many years ago, and that I've learned through my own trials and errors, my family's, of course, but even more so with my students, because I've taught tens of thousands of people, and my clients, many thousands. So here we go. Debbie Stupik says, I've been following you for 8 months and love it. Took Gateway 1 and 2 and just love everything you're teaching me, and my study group is fabulous. Oh, study groups are great. Friends, do consider, if you're new here, joining one of our study groups. They are amazing. They're online and you get to meet people through Zoom, etc. It's just the best. Yeah, it's really great to see you all. All right, so let's start with this. I love my dentist. And I travel from Florida to Columbus, Ohio for this dentist. And when I lived in Buffalo, I would travel from Buffalo. 5.5 hours driving from Buffalo. A lot longer than that if we drove from Florida. Instead, we flew. And so a good dentist is worth the effort. So this man is technically very capable, and he's way beyond holistic. He's biological. He's quite seasoned. He's published, and he also has a good relationship with his faith, shall I say? So I don't worry about when I go to see him. He is so good at what he does. He not only is, of course, has a degree in dentistry, but he also has a PhD in anatomy, which is important because you got to know where you're going with that needle and where you're going with that scalpel and all of his instruments. So I traveled far to get to him. Now, I had a feeling that I had a problem with this tooth, and he's been warning me that the problem is that I'm clenching my teeth. So I'm going to start with that, clenching teeth. And I got to say, I did not take heed as I should have. He gave me something I could put in my mouth, and, a guard that I could use so that I wouldn't clench my teeth at night. And I would take it out in the middle of the night, and then I'd lose it, and I just was not attentive to it. But this time he convinced me, no, I really have to do something because I'm causing some damage by clenching. So I'm going to start with that, because if you are not at the place that I was, where you actually ended up with a fractured tooth, you might be able to save yourself some agony. And so I use my trusty repertory, which is Robin Murphy's Meta Repertory, and I look up clenched together under teeth. And there are, maybe 120, 100 remedies, something like that, from which to choose. So what I have to do is I've got to zero in and choose a remedy that I think is the most valuable for me, that fits what I'm all about. And so what I'm all about is really here. Two things stand out. Two very important medicines stand out. One is Nux Vomica, and Nux Vomica has served me well for a very long time, on and off and on and off. But because I work so long, I work so much, even though I do walk every day, I'm too sedentary. I sit at my desk, I write, I'm in meetings all day, I meet with clients, students, etc. So Nux Vomica is a very good medicine for me. But I think what might be even more valuable for me, which is a very important remedy here, is Rhus Tox. Rhus Tox is specific for joints and tendons and muscles that are stiff and could cause arthritis. And I've had a little arthritis once in a great while until I take my Rhus Tox. When I take Rhus Tox, then I have no trouble. but I have not taken it in some time, and I believe that I'm going to use both Nux Vomica and Roost Tox going forward, now that the tooth is extracted. Now, the tooth was extracted 8 days ago. It was Monday last, not yesterday, but Monday before. And so I want to tell you that before I go in for any dental work that's not with this dentist, because I have had to go into someone because I was having trouble with this tooth. I needed to find someone immediately. There was a lot of pain. I could feel that perhaps something was really brewing. I was pretty certain I had an infection. I went to a local dentist. Always makes me nervous. So I took, and here's the key, here's the most important remedy to remember, Gelsemium, Gelsemium, Gelsemium. I took it in a 30. I could have taken it in a 200, and it calms down the nerves for a forthcoming event. It gets the coward in me and brings it down to a whisper instead of a screaming Mimi inside of my head. That's the best way I can describe it. I took Gelsemium. I didn't need it for this dentist, but I took Gelsemium for the one that I went to go see a few months ago. And she actually put a crown on that tooth. But I knew it wasn't right. I knew I had to get to my guy. So anyway, it infected. I could tell it was infected. I could feel the infection. I've had infections in the past. And so I immediately knew what to do. I started right away, and I'm going to tell you now that once I felt that infection, before I even got to my dentist in Ohio, I started right away with pyrogenium. Jot this down, friends. It's for an infection that seems like it might go septic. And that's kind of what it felt like. I felt a little feverish everywhere. I never took my temperature, but it was just, if you've ever had something go septic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It felt bigger than a localized, 19 tooth. So I took pyrogenium, Pyrogenium, pyrogenium. I used it in a 200C. It's miraculous. It's better than any antibiotic. There are no side effects. And by the way, I might remind you that Sir William Osler, MD, was one of the doctors who founded Johns Hopkins Hospital, and he's quoted as having said, "The person who takes a drug must recover twice, once from the drug and once from the condition." So we want to stay away from antibiotics if we possibly can. Now, sometimes if we can't get to pyrogenium soon enough, or the other one I'm going to mention now too, we might have no choice. But if you can learn how to use these medicines, and I would encourage you to go to Joette's Learning Center and scroll down to Antibiotic Alternative. It's a whole course, an online course, specific to how to deal with, how to use homeopathic medicines instead of antibiotics. It's a gobsmacking concept and method that you will find extremely valuable. Okay, so I started to take pyrogenium because I knew I had an infection. Then I got to my dentist a few weeks later. It was hard for me to get into, but I kept it at bay. Pyrogenium kept it at bay. But then I didn't want to take a chance. So I added, even though I did feel measurably improved, I added a Banerjee protocol called Hyper-Rs. It's a combination of Hypericum 200 and Arsenicum 200 mixed together. Now, you can purchase this directly from OHM Pharma if you happen to be a student or a client of mine. Or you can purchase it, I think, from Helios in Great Britain, in England. Or you can just get Hypericum 200 and Arsenicum 200 and take them simultaneously so that it makes it one medicine. So I took that for several days until I could get to my dentist. By the time I got there, I was feeling much better, but I knew the tooth had to be extracted. I knew that it was a fracture. The bridge or the crown was meaningless. It was a good try. Thanks very much, local dentist, but it just didn't do the trick because it really was fractured enough that it caused an infection. Okay, so now what did I do? Excuse me while I take a drink of water. Yeah, someone's going to be spelling it. We've got Natalie's with us tonight. She'll be spelling the remedies for you. So before I went into the office of my dentist, I knew I was going to have x-rays, right? Well, I do as the best I can to keep from getting x-rays. I try very hard not to get them, but I really did need to know. And there was another tooth that was bothering me too. And I was thinking, oh no, it could be 2 teeth. It turned out the other one, it was x-rayed, was not fractured. It's because I'm clenching my teeth and I'm causing some trouble. Too much stress on my teeth. So I took the homeopathic medicine called X-ray 30. I took a dose of it before I subjected myself to the x-rays. And then I took that every day for the next several days, maybe, 4 or 5 days, something like that. And I can't say whether or not that helped. It's not like taking pyrogenium for the infection, for a potential septic infection. It's not like taking gelsemium that calms you down. Right, you can feel the difference within sometimes minutes, sometimes hours. It's not like these other medicines that will help you pretty much lickety-split. But I trust my medicines, and so I took X-ray 30. All right. What else did I do? While I was in the chair, and it was evident that I was going to have an extraction. And as I said, it's number 19. It was number 19. It is no longer. It's long gone now. But it is. It's a sizable tooth. It's a molar, and so it's not going to come out readily, or maybe it could. But this dentist does it with such aplomb that, of course, I didn't even know that it had been done by the time it was done. I got several locals, I think maybe 3 or 4 local anesthetics. And so just before he was ready to inject me, I took Arnica 200. Now, why Arnica 200? Because, my friends, that is one of the quintessential medicines before surgery. Don't listen to a surgeon who thinks you can't take Arnica, because surgeons, unless they're plastic surgeons, they seem to know a lot about Arnica montana. They've been educated. But all the other surgeons freak out. They go online, they look at Arnica, and they say, oh, no, it can cause bleeding. Well, yes, it can in its gross form. But remember, friends, this is homeopathy. It's different. It's been diluted. It's Arnica 200C. It's been diluted 200 times, to the 100th power. So it is so dilute that it doesn't cause bleeding. It keeps the person from overbleeding. And it's great for injuries. So I used Arnica 200 just before the surgery. Then he injected me in the area, and I had the tooth extracted. Now, afterwards, I felt fine. Of course I did, because I had been injected with local anesthetics. And I so enjoy going to this dentist, not only because of him, but his assistant and the ladies in the front office. I actually said to them, as I was laughing with a, funny feeling where you don't even feel as though you can speak very well. I said, it shouldn't be this much fun going to the dentist and having a tooth extracted. So I felt just fine. Okay. Then we went back to our hotel room. That night I slept pretty well. No problem. But I took Arnica and I took Hyper Rs. I took Arnica continually every few hours. No pain yet. There was still no pain. The local had still not worn off. But I took Hyper Rs, Hypericum 200 mixed with arsenicum, just in case there was an infection. And then every once in a while, I'd still take a dose of Pyrogenium 200. And that's what I did for the next several days. Now, let me tell you that 3 days later, I felt odd, shall I say. I felt extremely fatigued, but here was the kicker. I felt totally unmotivated. I didn't want to do anything. Now, I'm a pretty motivated person, and I love doing things. I like learning, I like teaching, I like studying, I like being with my family, I like cooking, I like doing things. And that's the way you are when you feel well. Well, all it was this ennui, this lack of interest. I didn't want to go to my meetings. I didn't want to do anything. And all I wanted to do was lay around. I actually laid down on my patio. Just like got a pillow and laid down right on the floor. I just didn't have any interest in doing anything. And then it hit me. Any of you have an idea of what the medicine might be that would have helped me? It helped me instantly. Let's see if you have an idea. Let's see if some of my students start showing up, because I know when my students come in, they've got a lot of great answers. If they don't, then I'll leave it hanging for a little while until somebody comes up with it. And if not, then I'll go forward and I'll tell you more about it. And so I took this medicine that described what I just said to a T. Ennui, lack of interest, great fatigue, and what was the onset of it? It was as a result, I believe, from the local anesthetic. You can still see I'm a little swollen here. You can still see a tiny bit of swelling. Ailments from drugs, which is why I wanted to tell you what William Osler, excuse me. And remember now, drugs are designed to interfere with normal human biology. That's how they're designed. Not homeopathy, of course. Oh, getting closer. Veronique is getting really close. They are actually toxins, and they're exploited for their side effects. It was a local anesthetic. Nux vomica is what most people might think. You might think that. I know people are jumping on Nux vomica, but Veronique came up with a remedy that's really close. The remedy is in the word that, no, we're getting there. Camphor's not a bad idea. I could have antidoted the local anesthetic, couldn't I have, with camphor? I could have done that. But it was so specific. It was a lack of interest in life. I just didn't want to do anything. Oh, there we go. Marha Vargas. Phosphoric acid. You're absolutely right. That was it. Deborah, good job. Phosphoric acid. Not phosphorus, friends. Phosphoric acid. Phosphoricum acidum, if you want to give the full word. Phosphoric acid. It is a very specific remedy. Homeopathic medicine. I used it in a 200 potency. One dose, that's all I took. It's specific for when someone has had an ailment from drugs, and I didn't feel as though I had any ailments from drugs, but obviously something had happened because I had no interest in life. Didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to make dinner. Didn't want to take a shower. I felt like I maybe wanted to watch a movie or something, and maybe not one movie, but movies all day. Fatigue, and it comes as a result of having been exposed to drugs. Phosphoric acid. I took one dose, my friends, before I went to bed that night. It was Monday I had the extraction. It must have been Wednesday or Thursday. Before I went to bed, I took it in the morning, and I popped out of bed the next morning like a piece of toast out of a toaster. I was back to myself. One dose. Slept I slept 10 hours that night. Deeply. So it was a perfect remedy choice. It was perfect. Phosphoric acid. So, I use the quote from William Osler all the time, says Laura. Yeah, it's an excellent quote. Yeah. People don't realize it's not that we just don't like drugs. No. You have to recover from them. You got to know what to do. And thankfully, I did know what to do. Could I have used camphor? I could have used camphor. It's a possibility. But camphor's broad, It brushes a broad stroke. Ailments from drugs. Yes, it's to help antidote drugs. But this was so specific because I had that lack of interest. I didn't want to do anything, and I was so fatigued. And I had had 3 or 4 injections directly into my mandible. Now, I don't take drugs. I haven't taken, I'm trying to think of the last time. Well, I guess it was, let's see, I don't know, 25 years ago maybe. I took 200C of that phosphoric acid. Now listen, it's not just phosphoric acid isn't just for people who have just had drugs. It's for some people who have had, I'm giving you the list again, have had drugs, are probably reacting to them, number 2. Number 3, were ennui, a lack of, or fatigue, no boredom, no interest in anything, and great fatigue. That's the combination. And so I want you to remember that because it could be very useful to you and your family. So, all right. So now where am I? Now it's 8 days later. And I'm still taking, every once in a while, I feel a little sensation there. Oh, one other remedy. The day after the surgery, I felt, and I know you're going to know this one, I felt a pounding, throbbing in the area that where the tooth had been extracted. It was painful. And I know if you think about it, you're going to remember it, and you've probably used it for maybe your child. It's a very common remedy for children who get fevers, but it is very specific for throbbing pain. So I took a couple doses of that, and that went away, and that was gone. So what I'm describing to you is, this is what happened. I took this. This is what happened. I took that. Thank you, Marha, and Deborah Belladonna. Belladonna. Beautiful woman. Belladonna. Yes. Yep. Very good. You've got it. Christine, Tara. Oh, hi, Tara. Paula. Very good. And I only use it in the 30th potency. Here's the condition. Angst before dental. Gelsemium. Done. It was done. Now, I could have taken a couple more doses if I needed to, but I didn't, so you don't. When you don't need it, you don't need it. You don't take it. Then, X-ray before, because I knew I was going to get X-rays, just to support my system. Took that for a few days after as well. Okay, sat in the chair, Arnica, Montana, because I knew it was going to have an injury and bleeding, right? And then after that, Hyper-Rs. And also I had taken before that, when I went to after the other dentist, I had taken Hyper-Rs and Pyrogenium for the infection, the sepsis. It felt like sepsis to me. I can't say for sure, but that's what it felt like to me. You see where I'm going. Use this medicine for this condition. Then the symptoms shift, or the need shifts. Now you take a medicine for that, and then the needs shift again, and then you take a medicine for that. It's not unlike, my friends, if you were to go to a chiropractor and he or she adjusts you, and then the next time you see them, now they adjust you a little differently, because now there's something different that has to be approached. And so we meet the condition with the homeopathic medicine. So now I'm left with, occasionally I take just plain Hypericum. I'm not taking Hyper-Rs any longer, the Banerjee protocol of Hyper-Rs, Hypericum mixed with arsenicum. I'm not doing that any longer because I just feel a little twinge. It hurts a little here and there. I take Hypericum 200, just, maybe once a day when I feel it coming on again. And I will be taking Roostox, as I said when I opened up this tonight. I will be taking my Roostox, and I say my because it is such a great medicine for me, for joints and for anybody who's got this kind of grinding. I studied shortly with a homeopath from Italy. His name was, beautiful name, Massimo Mangialavore, and he used to say, grinding the teeth, instead of calling it grinding. But so I don't know that I grind my teeth, but I do know that I clench them. And so those two medicines, Nux vomica and Roostox, are going to befit me the most. Now, those are the only two remedies that I've talked about tonight, my friends, that are just enough different that might not fit just everyone. Oh, thank you, Jen. Aconite helps me with dentistry. Sounds like it's not a go-to for you with dentistry. No, but aconite is great for just before, if there's real anxiety, and even afterwards. Yes, aconite's a great medicine. Absolutely. Heparin sulfate, I thought that helped teeth infections, like in the root. No, Caro, heparin sulfate is specific for soft tissue dental infections. Heparin sulfate 6 is soft tissue dental infections. Mine was not soft tissue. Mine was already in the root, slightly into the root. All right. Can you use phosphoric acid ahead of time if you know you will be getting local anesthetic? I don't know that I would do that. I wouldn't do that. I would wait until you see what comes of it. Because what if the anesthetic causes nausea and vomiting? Then phosphoric acid is incorrect, right? Then you'd go to, say, Nux Vomica. What if it caused, I don't know, mental confusion? In that case, you would use just plain phosphorus, not phosphoric acid. See, so I'm using the exact symptoms, so I know what to use in the homeopathically. If you're feeling anxious while at the dentist, would you continue with gelsemium or move to a different remedy for anxiety? Love the question. Somebody said earlier aconitum helps them so much. If gelsemium doesn't work, go directly to aconitum napellus, by all means. And aconitum I use in a 200. Yep, that's when I take it. Mouth taping helps me out clenching. It's a miracle. Thank you for saying I might just try that. The problem is I have used some mouth taping, not for very long. I end up taking it off in the night without my realizing, but I'm going to give it a try again. But you do take phosphorus in case of x-rays? No. X-ray, for x-rays, we're using x-ray. Watch this again and you'll get the gist of it. Oh, Chuck's girl says, please put your Materia Medica on sale or share a coupon code with us. That's not my Materia Medica. I think you might be talking about someone else's, Robin Murphy's. Mine is not very expensive. Do you try gunpowder for root infection? Did you try? No, I did not use gunpowder, but it was standing by just in case. Gunpowder is an excellent homeopathic medicine for root infection. What about implant oral surgery? I'm not going to get an implant. I'm not doing that. Yep. Paper tape holds nicely. Well, thank you, Marie. I'll give that a try. Listen to you all. It's great. I don't have any affiliation with anyone else. So for other people's Materia Medicas, for other people's, for pharmacies that where you can buy these medicines, I have no affiliations with any of them. I don't want that. I've been offered that a number of times in many different venues. Nope, I don't like that shtick. Let's see. Can you use let's see if I can just make sure that I've gotten all of these questions. Congratulations, Belladonna. Okay, very good, very good. Wonderful, wonderful. Really, it's a wonderful group tonight. Active, interested, love you. I'm going to go on now to my Joette's Mighty members. If you're not a Mighty member, maybe, Natalie, you can leave that information up so that you folks who are not Mighty members can consider joining.
30-day free.
Oh, yeah, we do have a 30-day free. Yeah, if they go to Joette's Learning Center, too, they'll find Mighty members, right?
Yeah, they will, but if they watch their inbox.
If you watch your inbox, yeah.
If you're on our email list.
Yes, if you're on our email list and you watch your inbox, you'll get 30 days free of Joette's Mighty members. No, I meant what to take for implant surgery. I used gunpowder in infection spread and got abscessed. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I completely understand. Will x-ray work afterwards? If one forgets, certainly. Many thanks for all the remedy suggestions. Thank you, Joette. Love your Monday afternoons. Thank you, Carol. Wonderful to see you all. I'm going to go to Joette's Mighty members now. And for those of you who stick around and are members, I'll be answering your questions. So here we go.